Draft Pod, talking about the edge rushing and offensive tackle classes of the 2025 draft. Why did the Broncos double up on edge rushers, the only position they did so at? Why have the Broncos under Sean Payton waited on offensive tackle? And could that be the biggest need coming into next offseason? So much to get into with this one. We're doing it now. DNVR Draft Pod. We're doing it, baby.
We're doing it.
It's my favorite show of the week. Full crew, which you love to see. The legend Alyssa Marie on the ones and twos, and we're in our beautiful new studio. Not to be confused with the Toyota.
Look at
lounge.
The lighting on this shot.
Really, you look angelic.
Well, it's
Henry's
going
coming
on
off
back there
really well, and I look old and sickly like most of the time. So that's okay, though. That's okay.
You're beautiful, bro. Come on.
Everyone's beautiful in their own way. You know, I
know what?
I
You
should
said it, not
accept
me.
that. Raccoons are really cute, even though they're terrible pests. And if the eye bags under my eyes make me look like one, so be it. They're very cute animals. So.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time with raccoons back in the day. My grandpa, they were
Hashtag
always
Montana things.
yeah.
man.
We always be watching TV in the living room, and there's like a sliding glass door, and raccoons were always hanging out right there.
Did you ever try to befriend one?
Damn.
No, we never got too much. At one point, my grandpa he got kind of close with a skunk.
Oh, geez.
That's not.
That'd be
But I know
sticky.
that's what my grandma said. She was like, "You can't let the skunk in the house." And he pointed out, like, well, the reason we get along with the skunk is that we're nice to it. And so as soon as you start saying skunk, get the hell out of the house. You know, that's when.
Right.
Skunk.
That would start
Yeah.
the one thing that's the detriment about the skunk.
Yes, you have to live in harmony with the nature.
That checks out. That checks out. On the topic of harmony, we are covering two positions that are intrinsically tied.
Facts.
The edge rusher position and the offensive tackle position. One that the Broncos doubled up on, another one that the Broncos have neglected in the draft. To our surprise, in the Sean Payton tenure in the draft, we've got all that to get into. I mean, these are premium positions. These are the positions you build a winning football team on in the modern NFL in 2025. It's exactly what the Chiefs have done, though the Chiefs kind of got snake bitten for their neglect of the offensive tackle position this year, while the Eagles, on the other hand, were rewarded for their investment in these two positions. I can't only imagine why Henry is smirking right now.
Well,
I'll
you used the
ignore
phrase
it.
snake bitten, so I had to keep all my snake bite stories out. We already did the Montana thing. You don't want to hear
Man,
those.
the OT segment of this show, I think is going to be elite because I have a lot of questions as well.
I've learned a lot about you guys today.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun and rewarding.
Yes.
Speaking of rewarding, let's reward our listeners for tuning in. Also, by the way, you are legends. Leave us a thumbs up. Bring the comments in the Toyota chat. Come one, come all. We love you all so much. You are true sickos and just beautiful people for even being here with us. Let's get into the edge rusher class, though, for starters. Major takeaways. For me, of all the positions, this is the one where we really kind of saw the NFL value size, that power element, the ability to make an impact for all three downs more so than the media does. The top 8 guys, 4 of them I would assess as like power edge rushers.
Yeah.
Mikael Williams, Shamar Stewart, JT Tuamalu, and Nick Scorton, who goes higher than maybe most media expectations coming into the draft. And I mean, the finesse guys, Abdul Carter, finesse, but he's a top 5 pick. I think different rules apply to those guys. James Pierce, look, the length is of a power guy, but obviously he's pretty skinny. So, I mean, you kind of got to. And Donovan Uzurike, by far the like true undersized, fits more of the Nick Benito mold for lack of. But I thought, interesting that guys like Mike Green dropped, Josiah Stewart, Kyle Kennard, some of the media darlings, because of the production, because of that electricity off the edge, kind of dropped off a little bit more than maybe media prognostications. The other theme for me is like this is the position that all the contenders hit. Whether you want to be a contender or you are a legitimate contender, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Niners, the Cowboys who are trying to get back to that spot, the Broncos doubling up. You name it. This is a position that the winning teams hit hard.
Yeah. One of the things that Aqib Talib said when he was talking to Benny Fowler is that, eventually you play the Chiefs, you just play man coverage and try to get to the quarterback. That's what it comes down to. And I would expand that to say it's not just when you play the Chiefs. That's just playoff football is you need to be able to guard their guys one-on-one, and you need your rushers to be able to get to the quarterback one-on-one.
It's the 2015 Broncos.
Yeah, totally. And every team since then has at least been, that's won a Super Bowl, has been functional in those ways.
That's why these are premium positions, right?
Exactly.
Like these are just spots when I draw up the play as a coach, when I'm game planning for the whole week ahead, I need you to win some of these one-on-ones. Ultimately, that's why you're paid millions of dollars. And I need these guys at my premium spots to win their one-on-one assignments.
The big edge rushers were interesting too, which you noted. Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart. They have like that every down versatility, where some of those guys, James Pierce Jr. is so long and stuff that maybe he does wind up being that type. But sometimes like a Nick Benito, you look at how he started, where you only use him situationally. And sure, those are those are the situations that big games come down to. But I wonder if that's the thinking going bigger with some of these guys, is that we can do that, even if maybe they don't quite have the same pass rushing juice. Like straight up, James Pierce Jr. can get to the quarterback faster than a guy like Shamar Stewart. But given the rest of the things he brings to the game and the ability to just be on the field and hold a spot in the lineup on every down, I guess is worth it.
I think the NFL really hates guys who, when you line them up, the opposing offense is already thinking like, oh, we can run to that side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's a huge disadvantage, man.
Totally.
A couple things I noticed just looking at the general overview here. This might just be coincidence, but all the first 5 guys drafted were juniors, not seniors. When you're ready at that position, you're just ready. And the NFL is going to take you because obviously it's just an extra year of development and growth that they're going to oversee for you. We talked about when we did the I think it was the running backs, we were talking about the runs, right? There's no run here. They're constantly just being selected throughout the draft.
Yep.
This is like the most important position in
fairly
football
consistently.
now.
Yeah.
Like I would dare to say there's not another position that had more consistent, like 4 guys in the first round, over 5 guys in the second, over that in the third, over that in the fourth, and like 4 guys in the fifth.
Yeah. And only 1 in the 7th and 2 in the 6th, though.
Because this is the most important position now.
And you've already hit it because it is so important. Again, Broncos hit it twice. But it does look like, there's obviously the freaks, the 4 guys in the first round. Day 2 seems to be prime edge rusher territory where it just load up with these guys and see if you hit on one of them.
No, exactly.
6 drafted in round 3 with the Broncos closing the round with Sai'vion Jones there, It's also a position where look at the schools, man.
Yep.
Totally.
It's all Big Ten and SEC with like a couple rare exceptions. And on top of that, it's mostly like the big dogs in the Big Ten and the Big Ten and SEC. Yeah.
Kind of like a hierarchy forming here of the importance of what it is in an edge prospect too. Abdul Carter just kind of had it all right. Maybe not a top end Myles Garrett, Joey Bosa type first overall pick that we've seen, caliber type of player. But he's got the size, he's got the production, he's young, and he's got the athleticism, right?
Yeah.
Also, if you're a Penn State edge rusher, just wear number 11 every time it's available. And
Totally.
But Michael Williams, maybe less so on the production, but the size. He's a junior as well, younger guy. Same with Jalen Walker, size, younger guy. I mean, you got to figure out what's exactly he's going to do. But like even Shamar Stewart, like I would throw production in there, but with Shamar Stewart going in the first round with that production, it's clear that if you have everything else and if you're just missing, I mean, size is super important. I don't think you're going to be able to negotiate on that. I mean, Ezra still went pretty high though, even though he's one of the smaller guys. But if Shamar Stewart was maybe an outlier in terms of size as opposed to production, there's no chance he goes here. So production out of the size and athleticism, to me, it seems like that takes third place.
Totally. And that's,
a great point.
Again, it goes back to the big school thing. Like all these guys, the 5-star recruits, some 4-star recruits, like you said, even if they aren't putting up big numbers, those are the guys you bet on. Q Robinson, another example. Talented player, but again, in 5 years at Bama, he played fewer defensive snaps than Pat Surtain did from week 13 on last year, which is crazy to think about. That's like 5-6 weeks for Pat versus 5 years for Q Robinson. But you have the traits, and so there's a chance that you hit in the NFL. Meanwhile, you see like one of the Broncos' big undrafted guys, Johnny Walker Jr. from Missouri.
Yeah, it's the SEC production.
Totally. One-time all SEC, I should say. But former 3-star recruit, doesn't have like crazy traits, 6'2", 246. Pretty long, but that doesn't like blow you out of the water, especially for a guy who like is maybe a little bit more of like a power type than like a speed guy. Just makes him a tweener. But in the last 7 games this year, he had 8.5 sacks, which is ridiculous. And in that time span, from week 8 on, only 4 guys in the country had more sacks. 3 of them were drafted in the top 45. 2 of them were playing in the CFP, so they just had extra games too. So I mean, those are the guys that you take your chance on. And again, Shaq Barrett, it worked out. But this really is just straight up traits are what matters at this position. And even if you're one of the best at the position in the country, if you're 6'2", 246 with average athleticism, not even drafted.
100%. And it's a super duper deep class. Like super deep.
Yeah.
I think of all the... Well, this is a question we can hit on the other side of all the premium positions. Is this the deepest? Certainly not quarterback or offensive tackle.
No.
But, the conversation is between this corner and wide receiver.
Yep.
It's got we'll save it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's take a quick break. Then we'll be back with some of our favorite picks from this edge rusher group and other takeaways as a whole. And then we'll go to the other side of the ball. But first, a shout out to our great friends at Bet365. Bet365. They're an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche, proud partner of the Denver Nuggets. I mixed and matched on those. I'm not saying they're official on one, proud on the other. I'm not putting words in their mouth. They're supporting them both, and they're supporting us, which we love them dearly for. You, of course, know you can use our code DNVR365 exclusive for you, our listeners, as a first-time user. Sign up, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets after you've completed the minimum deposit of $10 and the minimum bet of $5 as soon as that's settled. Win, lose, or draw. Boom, $150 in bonus bets for you to play with as you please. All sorts of great props, futures. What have you been betting lately, Hank?
Well, funny you should ask.
Hey, that's not where we're going. That's not where. Hold your horses.
I had a little parlay today.
Nice.
Yankees won.
Let's go.
Phillies -1.5. They covered that against the Rockies.
Hell yeah.
And now we've got the Thunder money line tonight. Just a quick little +250. All favorites. We love it.
All in on the Thunder. It's bringing me some closure watching them smack other teams.
Yeah.
It gives me more self-worth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be riding with that one. I guess I got to figure something out on the baseball side.
Bet against the Rockies every day. It sucks, but it works.
You bet in some F1?
I have not been.
Summer?
I usually
think we might want to get back into it.
Well, I heat up going into football season with futures and stuff.
Love that.
I'm sure we'll talk about those at some point.
I took RJ Harvey +5,000 offensive rookie of the year.
Nice.
Currently +12 1,200 plus
Dude,
1,400.
that's gone up.
Yeah.
Well done.
That's gone up. You can get in on all the fun. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up. Use that code DNVR365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. TNCs apply. And would you mind telling our good friends here listening to us about Fanstake, Jakester?
Yes, sir. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Fanstake, a cool new platform where you, the fans, can directly contribute to the success
It's pretty crazy.
of your favorite college football team. NIL is taking over the sport, obviously.
Damn straight.
Instead of just donating to a collective where you don't know what happens to your money, you can go on Fanstake, sign up with your favorite team. We're going to use the Buffs, for example, here. And you can stake Jordan Seaton.
Yeah, big
you can keep players on the team with this. You can donate directly to them through that. And Fanstake allows them to sign up for an NIL deal, or because, we're reaching the end of it, but portal season, there's a target out there and they're signed up on Fanstake. You can stake them to join your team. And even if they don't join your team, that money goes right back into your pocket.
Perfect.
If they decide to go
ball
somewhere else.
knowers who watch the draft pod. Like,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
perfect app. And we'll be talking about Big C next year's version of the draft pod. It's coming.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, no, this time next year, we're previewing, 2 years from now, then we're going to be recapping where he went, probably.
I know, Jake.
Fanstake is currently offering new fans a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. And we're encouraging everyone to join us in staking Jordan Seaton to keep him on the Buffs. Click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com and use promo code DNVR to help keep your favorite players with your favorite team.
This is my first time on the website.
It's cool.
I'm really tempted to pay some money.
To stake your claim. Montana on
You
there.
got
Henry?
Montana guys there.
Dude, that's amazing. Okay. Favorite picks from this edge group. You could also go favorite sleeper. You could also talk Broncos. You want to give me some Broncos tie-ins? I'm all ears.
Jack Sawyer in the 4th to the Steelers. I'm not saying it's like my like, oh my goodness, but it's one of those.
When did
where you
he
look at-
hyphenate his name?
Jack Sawyer?
Yeah.
Did I hyphenate?
Didn't he say Jack Smith Sawyer?
I really don't think so.
Did I really?
I
think
really
you're
don't
carrying
think
shit,
so.
bro.
Jack, go back to the tape. I beg you, go back to the tape.
Okay.
If I'm having auditory hallucinations, I want to know. I want you to know. I want everyone to know.
He's just one of those guys, though, where it's like, yeah, I see the vision. I know what you're doing. Because they got Herbig, they got TJ Watt, that's Jack Sawyer, another just Big Ten, big bully. Yeah, absolutely. But it's like, of course,
I got it.
this blue chip.
You get it, Jake?
What?
The edges he's mentioning, what they have in common.
You don't even have to go through the list again. I probably already know what you're
Hell
talking
yeah.
about.
Talented Big Ten edges. Again, you're just like, yep, go back to the well. Go back to the well, guys.
Totally.
I mean, you were saying that my mind immediately went to Ryan Shazier because he was another Ohio State edge who went to the Steelers. But
Nice.
I digress. Top of the draft, I really like Michael Williams to San Francisco. I just think he's a monster.
Huh?
I think he's a monster.
Such a tough one for me.
And San Francisco is just going to, they have the players there to kind of let him do whatever fits best. So
They've set the mold for this, just like load up on edges. Like we're better
Exactly.
off just having a deep edge room and being able to just like send pressure in waves no matter what, never giving you a break. And we'd rather prioritize that over basically anything else. Like we will figure out literally everything else. This is what we can't figure out. We can scheme protections. We can scheme guys open. Our scheme will allow for runners to be good. Our scheme has kind of produced above average quarterbacks. I don't know if I meant we can scheme protections. We can scheme the back end and cover up some stuff.
Yeah.
Pass rush. We want to rush 4 and get to you by just rushing 4. That's the non-negotiable.
Totally.
The Baltimore Ravens did it again too, and Mike Green. Obviously, he had some other stuff going on that made him drop, but another younger or a junior, not quite a senior, so he doesn't have all that tape to look back on, but he did enough last year, obviously, and the Ravens just did the Ravens thing and took whoever the best player was, wherever they picked. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you told me that there's one player in this draft who has a 15 sack season in the NFL, I'd be like, okay, it's Abdul Carter. But if you told me that there were two, I'd say it's Abdul Carter and it's James Pierce Jr. And I think there isn't. I don't think there's another guy in there who I'd say
I
competes.
despise that trade, by the way.
The Falcons trade?
You think
To
so?
move up and get him.
Yeah, they gave away a first, I think.
They gave up a
okay.
few. They drafted him 26th overall and gave up a future first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that
Wouldn't
could really,
you
they are
assume
bad.
the Falcons first next year will be a higher pick than 26th overall?
There's a good chance. But I also think, I had money on James Pierce Jr. being a top 10 pick because I look at him.
Yeah,
Again, we
no,
had the talk
I
about
agree. I
the
agree.
big edges, but
It's premium traits too.
absolutely. I mean, fastest edge rusher at the combine, quickest with the 10-yard split. Like all of the athletic testing says this guy is a freak. He was the best player
The
on
length
one of the
is
best.
otherworldly.
Absolutely. 6'5", 245. Like he's like a taller, longer Nick Bonito is what I see.
Sure.
And I think
Sure.
that that's the kind of guy that, so proven SEC, like best, one of the better defenses in the country. And he's kind of the guy who's the
Defensive
face
fronts.
of it. Yeah.
Problem is though, he was just kind of a guy.
Last year.
Like he came into
Yeah.
the season with all these expectations and then was like kind of a good guy in a really good rotation.
Yeah.
And
There's-
I think that's concerning a little bit.
I felt like in going back and watching though, first of all, he did lead the SEC in sacks in 2023. So
Yeah.
there you do have some track record.
Yeah.
Dropped down to 7.5 this year. But going back-
43 hurries, however, last year compared to 28 and 23. So that's impressive. I had not looked at those advanced stats.
It felt like he over and over again was chasing quarterbacks out of the pocket and was tackling them for like 2-yard gains. Like it felt like there were a lot
Yeah.
of those.
He had
where
a
it's
lot
like,
of
it's
those.
not a sack, but you're just like you were so close. And
The
with
tools are
sacks there
elite. The
too.
tools are worthy of going higher than Mikael Williams or Shamar Stewart for sure.
Well,
And
and
17.5 sacks in 2 years. It's not.
It's not bad.
Not-
In the SEC, it's really not bad.
and I know you said you didn't like this pick because this is what Atlanta's been doing, like taking these speed rushers.
That's the thing that pissed me off.
I get it,
fair.
but Dre, my favorite thing from James Pierce is his ability to convert speed to power in his rushes
Yeah.
because of that
Yeah.
length. Like
Yeah.
he is going to profile more as a speed rusher just because of his body type, athleticism, and all that.
Yeah.
But because of that length, he actually has a different element when it comes to speed to power in particular.
For sure. And look, Jalen Walker has some different power elements to his game as well. So
Yes.
they aren't quite, neither's quite
Yeah.
Vic Beasley. Neither's quite
Yes.
just the set and forget finesse edge and that's it. But
But Pierce is a little close.
there's enough of that to be like, geez, are these guys ever going to learn their lesson?
And when
I mean,
you're-
it's fair.
You're 245 pounds and your like center of gravity is so high. Like you're just not going to
That's
be
what I'm saying.
holding the but
Like
again,
they're ultimately both stand-up edges.
totally.
And I'm
Yes.
saying when like most of the league is playing 65% in nickel with a 4-man front, hand in the ground.
Yeah.
Okay,
And those
like
six-
let's
yeah.
hope they don't audible to a run.
Dawson on 3rd and 8.
Yeah, no, totally.
First
right.
and 10
exactly.
though, like yeah.
Exactly.
But the other thing with James Pierce is what I said at the beginning when it comes to this edge class. He's a young guy, man. He was a 2022 recruit.
Yeah.
He was 3 and done in college. Like
Yep.
there is so much more ahead of him in terms of development and, refining what exactly he is as a
Yeah.
rusher.
And I do wonder
like
what
it.
exactly happened in Tennessee. Like Omar Norman Lott's another guy I loved. And I mean, I think you look at his advanced stats, like his percentage of pass rush is like like beyond Aaron Donald at Pitt. And it's like, why is this guy only playing 40% of the snaps? I don't know. Sometimes I think in the new era of college football, we're maybe trying to keep everyone happy, So
Yeah.
to not so that the entire D line doesn't transfer next off season. It's kind of like you got to balance it and you can't
True.
play favorites too much. And I don't know. I mean, it was a dominant defensive line. That was a program that's been offense only for like 20 years. And last year really got some things figured out. But yeah, I don't know. To me, Atlanta's been overly aggressive in ways that they can't totally afford to.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, if Penix is who at least I thought he was coming out last year, they're going to be in a lot better shape.
No doubt. No doubt. I really like these second round edge rushers, but I'll give a shout out to Carolina. Nick Scorton,
Yes.
much like James
Yes.
Pierce Jr. coming into the season, you watch that Purdue tape, he is a beast. And he is exactly the profile of edge rusher the NFL is all in on.
Yep.
I mean, he is very Bradley Chubb-esque. Very Bradley Chubb NC State. where it's like, is the bend elite? Is the first step elite?
Is 15 sacks ever in play?
Right.
Like, probably not.
Might be a steady diet of like 8 to 12, you know?
Yeah.
And
12 as an elite run defender.
that's a player who gets paid a ton of money.
But
And if you want, go get Von Miller for $6 million for 1 year.
Sure.
Play him on some third downs.
Sure.
But he's another guy. I don't think we really know. I mean, maybe we do know what he is because he showed it the season before. Last year, he played with so much weight at A&M that he didn't have at Purdue. Like
They
he
made
had
him
to,
a little heavier, yeah.
Yeah, he had to like change basically who at that position. You add 25 pounds, bro. You got to change who you are as a player, basically, even if it is muscle that you're adding.
Yep.
No, 100%. So I think we're always talking about like upside gambles. This is an upside gamble that isn't on the guy with all the measurables but didn't have the production.
Yep.
It's an upside gamble in someone who maybe last year was a little miscast.
Yep.
And you know what? Still had 28 hurries in the SEC, still had 4 sacks, still had 4 QB hits. Like, it wasn't the worst season for a top 20 program that dominated on the defensive front.
Yep. And a style of player that you can get on the field.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is the tough part when you say like, oh, we're going the upside tools, like James Pierce Jr. Okay, we got you. You go the first 3 games playing those third downs if you're James Pierce Jr. and it doesn't go well, you just can't justify having him out there.
Yeah.
You know? And so like that was kind of a Nick Bonito problem too. Like it would have been really easy if Nick Bonito had another 40 pounds on rundowns to say like, yeah, just go out there, figure it out. You're doing your job here. If you get the guy on the field, then maybe Luck's into a couple sacks. Maybe the pass rushing comes and other like, I like the strategy.
Yeah. And then adding Princely Uniman in the third, where holy cow, the value on these third round rushers, especially Landon Jackson, Princely, and Jordan Birch and Josiah Stewart. Wow.
Landon Jackson the third is crazy. Like, I mean, crazy value. Not crazy that happened because there's so many.
And another super reasonable upside bet.
100%.
For a pure
so
4-man front.
Exactly.
That's the other thing, man. We're so quick to be like, just have him play as a stand-up edge. Like, yeah, that might not be the scheme for 20 teams in the league.
For sure.
Exactly.
Or that might only be a possibility for 40% of the snaps every game. Like, that's just not on the table. So those guys who can play hand in the ground like that can play a straight-up defensive ends.
You have Greg Russo on one side and now Greg Russo part 2 on the other side. That is the potential to be one of the best edge rushing duos in the NFL.
And Landon Jackson, for a tall guy, pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Pretty sturdy. Like, not the easiest to throw off his spot.
Totally.
To just move around because, he's lanky and, like, there's not a ton of power.
6'7", 267 for Russo, 6'6", 264 for Jackson.
Wow.
Big, strong,
Craziness.
fast, and productive.
That's huge, man. And, like, if the Bills are telling you, like, 6'6", 6'7" edges is the way to go.
Well, I forgot they also signed Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it right.
Another big boy. That's a team that moved off Von Miller.
I mean, love the guy, but it's 2025.
Bosa, Landon Jackson,
100%.
Greg Russo. You can move off of anybody else if you have those 3.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like, that's insane.
that top 11, historic top 11, Vaughn was drafted in. Yeah, first overall pick, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
After Vaughn, Patrick Peterson, AJ Green, Julio Jones, JJ Watt, Tyron Smith.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Don't recall any of those other guys being in the NFL currently.
True.
Yeah.
Alden Smith.
True.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He's been
there
out
was
of
a
the
moment.
NFL for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
He has.
It's been a minute. Like Alden Smith, we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to answer John Anarella, not just a phenomenal listener and a person we love through and through, reads like a Paisan too. So
Shout
all
out,
in
John.
on JA over here. But taking a quick break, and we'll be right back on the other side, where I want to tell you about our dear friends at Toyota. You know about Toyota. Come on, man. It's playoff time. Kind of, sort of. You know, we're betting on the Thunder, so we'll allow it. And there's no better time to drive a Toyota. Look, trucks, SUVs, environmentally friendly, low carbon emissions, the perfect car to get lost in the mountains in, the perfect family car. Toyota's got it all, man. Toyota has it all. Phenomenal company, phenomenal cars, phenomenal customer service. Jake's found that out firsthand, stranded
way.
on 36. Anyone at DNVR who drives a Toyota swears by them. They are that guy. You know how the kids say, like, he's him? Toyota, they're him.
It's it.
It's it.
Yeah.
It's it.
5 stars.
Absolutely. 5 stars. No doubt. No doubt. And it's a 5-star at a premium position, whereas, usually those are highly touted, highly drafted picks. We actually might get into that. So visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West. That's right, in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. You know it, my friends. And I would be remiss if I didn't give our dear friends at UC Health also a shout out. DNVR Broncos and the DNVR Broncos Draft Pod is brought to you by UC Health, the preferred partner of athletes in Colorado. For inspiring health stories, go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary. That's what we're doing on this podcast here. We are living extraordinary. All right. Become a diehard today. Let's see, fellow Italian J.A. I knew it.
Wow.
He knows
what
ball.
a great man. What a great man. You got some Italian in you? Those dark features?
No, British and German mostly.
Gotcha.
Mm.
We respect it. They play NFL games over there.
They do.
They were.
We're playing
you're the one
everywhere
who
now.
started the trend. That's right.
Yep, it's all me.
Who's the best edge rusher in next year's class? Shall I pull up my list?
Yes,
Please,
please
yes.
do.
We have TJ Parker from Clemson, who might be a little light in the pants. Maybe not I don't know, actually. He's a bit, he maybe is more of the power guy who doesn't have the bendy stuff. But then Mateo, don't get too excited. He might not be a fellow Paisan like you think from the first name,
Yeah.
John, because his last name is Ugalele. Oh, remember that guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oregon edge rusher. He actually had an impressive season. The toughest name in the draft, Gabe Jackass? Jackass?
I don't have it in front of me, so it's tough for me to say.
Wait, what
I'm
team?
just gonna go with Jackass.
Illinois, Jacas, edge rusher, Illini. Okay.
You know what, Dre? I'll
Go
defer to you.
Jackass.
Okay.
If the Broncos draft and we get to make Jackass shirts, go Donkeys.
Mikhail Kamara from Indiana, I thought, had a really good season for the Hoosiers
Related to
last
Mo?
year as well.
Um,
Don't believe so.
Peter
Based
Woods.
on anything or just a guess?
Pete Woods.
Peter Woods out of Clemson's a good one too.
Yeah, TJ Parker, Peter Woods. I kind of have
Clemson's
going
gonna
to
be good this
more
year.
the interior category. Yeah,
They're loaded.
there's some fun ones. But much like Clemson the last few years, twill come down to Cade Kublik.
I mean,
I kind of like him.
I think that he's
Do you
probably
believe?
I kind of do.
out of the options. I'm picking him over Drew Allar. I think.
Yeah. I'm a believer.
Okay.
A
Okay.
cool
Maybe
believer.
over Alar. I've become a Lenora Sellers guy.
Oh, me too.
Certainly an Arch guy.
Lenore Sellers, he's one of those, like, you watch 5% of the plays and you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's
Yes.
like,
Right.
and then you watch the rest and you're like,
Right.
oh, he doesn't belong
He's
in the
got
NFL.
some stuff
Well-
to work on for sure, but he's exciting.
$5.95 might not be fair.
I mean, he's a classic, like, we come into the 2026 draft and it's like, wait, Lenore Sellers? Like, I watched a
Yeah.
lot of South
Yeah.
Carolina. Never once was I like,
Number one pick there.
whoa. I was like, oh, what a fun running quarterback they have.
Exactly.
In
But
this
then all of a
scrappy
sudden,
SEC
the
team.
draft people turn the page and start like putting together 2-minute highlight videos. Of
course.
And you're like, well, I
Right.
guess.
And then you watch
I've
the
never
clips
watched
and
him
it's
this
like,
way.
damn.
Yeah.
It's
So
not a
anyways,
great
we shall
quarterback
see.
class, honestly.
I was saying, which is why the treatment this quarterback class is so odd to me.
Yeah. Is the quarterback dying?
No.
Sick.
Wow.
I appreciate your effort there, but no.
Yeah. I mean, what realistically, so 32 teams. Let's live in a fantasy world where all 32 teams have a good quarterback.
Okay.
Say quarterbacks last
Sure.
15 years.
Sure.
So you get 2 good quarterbacks a year if that's what happens. Now, realistically, maybe 1 good quarterback here because half the teams just don't have them. So I don't think it's that big of a surprise. Like maybe
No.
there's more guys we're excited about and think could get there, but
I just think we're putting a lot of eggs in or not us, but like NFL teams are putting a lot of eggs into the Arch Manning basket of him just balling out and being undisputably
No
QB1.
No doubt.
and there's a real chance that doesn't happen.
Of course, it happens all the time.
totally.
All the time. All the time.
I'm Oliva also, his stock.
Oh, bro.
Like no one's had no one's stock has had a worse offseason than that kid.
When did it peak? It probably peaked like
'Cause I think-
November.
Before the playoff game, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think he was a top 3 projected pick for this class coming into the season.
I wouldn't
for
be
me.
surprised. He was a 5-star top like 30-some player in the class.
And he had his, much like Lenore Sellers, he had his moments.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I put the
a
right
lot of the year was good.
edit together, and you can talk yourself into Nico.
Totally.
No doubt.
If we gave him the Lenora Sellers treatment, whew,
But he's coming from that Tennessee offense, which
Yeah,
again is
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the worst
This
offenses
guy-
to watch and try
which
and evaluate.
is his reason for transferring.
Sure.
Which,
But
like,
now you're on a
props
worse
to you,
team.
King.
Like we're
Where
going
did
to
he
really
go?
find out now how good
Where
you
did he
are.
end up?
UCLA.
the Bruins, man.
kind of electric, if I'm being honest.
That's the like one of the first like trades in college football history. They traded quarterbacks basically.
Oh, Dante Moore?
No, he's at Oregon. He's gonna be the Oregon starting quarterback.
College
Yeah,
football.
He's
now.
that's another
college
name.
football now.
brother.
Come
No,
on.
sneaky name though for the 26th draft for sure. Dante Moore.
Totally. I remember being excited about him back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
We can talk
We're at
tackles
this
now.
so long, man.
We can talk tackles.
We're at this so long. We're just like, oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about him in 2 years.
Guess what? We got 11 months. Right around the corner.
Oh my god, no one
1
puts
month
the
down,
time.
though.
Like
Well, almost 1 month down.
other normal human being, who else puts the kind of time we put into the draft and other hobbies?
We're
It's
sick.
just
No,
it's
we're
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's really ridiculous. And yeah, if I didn't have this, I do not know how I would pass the next 3 months. I really like
Yeah.
this just keeps my intellectual stimulation going.
We need football, yes.
We've sidetracked for far too much. Thank you, John, for the question. I hope we answered it to the best of our abilities. Offensive tackle class, other side of the ball. This one surprised me a bit. I wonder if the positional value of the left tackle over right tackle has just slowly eroded.
I think that's accurate.
The top 10 offensive tackles, Will Campbell's OT1, much to my surprise. Armand Membo, OT2. Kelvin Banks, OT3, making it 3 offensive tackles in the top 10. Then at the end of the first, Josh Connerly Jr. and Josh Simmons finish out as OT4 and 5. Ariante Irsay in the mid-second goes to the Houston Texans as OT6. Then, Irsay kind of started the run on the big boys. Anthony Belton is OT7 going to the Packers in the second. Ozzie Terapilo from Boston College is OT8. Emory Jones, OT9 going to the Ravens. Great value pick at the end of the third. And Caleb Rogers is OT10. OT11, Charles Grant would also go to the Raiders. Talk about a drop-off.
Yes.
There are 10 guys drafted, 11 guys drafted in the first 3 rounds. Only 1 4th rounder, only 1 5th rounder, several 6th rounders. But it's clear, like, this is a position you either believe this guy can be a starter or you're kind of like, you know what? I don't think he's got the goods, so we're just going to look elsewhere.
Very chalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Will Campbell 1 is definitely a starting point. I mean, the short arms, which is that just a thing?
On top of positional value, must we talk short arms?
Exactly. Like, is that a thing of the past also? Are we not worried? I mean, who are the short arms guys who've gotten drafted recently? Have they panned out?
Skoronski.
He's playing guard though.
Rashawn, I thought they converted him to right.
Oh, you're right.
Rashawn Slater is the
That worked out.
success story.
Yep.
The Colts have The Austrian right tackle.
From Central Michigan.
geez.
Yes, he's also a short arm.
Bernard
king.
Ryman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or Brashard Smith is maybe what I'm thinking of.
No, that's-
Braden Smith.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's also a short arm guy. I mean, there certainly are some guys who are working out. I also found it Braden Smith, yeah. I also found it interesting that like when I started this, that 2013 draft, the draft of nightmares.
Yep.
The Mendoza line for arm length for offensive tackles was 34-inch. I swear.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I got Mandela affected. It's possible.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But I swear it was abundantly clear that this year, that Mendoza line has changed to 33 inches.
Yep.
Did the line change, or are we just not getting prospects who have the?
I mean,
the
that
length?
might be that's another like below the surface. I think this is something that in college football circles is like, there's been reports of California's not producing O-line talent the way they used to. The St. John Bosco's
It's been forever,
those
yeah.
kind of top schools. 7-on-7 is kind
Sure.
of like ruined O-line play. Spread offenses and the fact we don't even
Yes.
get in the proper stances anymore.
Yep.
Then you get to the NFL, you can't do two-a-days. You have limited padded practices. You can hardly even refine your traits. So you really, I mean, having having that starting skill set with size and athleticism is probably at more of a premium than it's ever been before.
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest way you can make up for arm length. Either just be bigger or get there faster and get to your spot faster.
Right.
Yeah, it's just very chalk. Maybe the most straightforward position when it comes to the draft, honestly, is offensive tackle, because the good ones just go, and hardly any of them ever fall unless it's like a Laramie Tunsil situation. Even then, what do you fall? 15? Like,
Yeah.
You
Or
know what I
Lal
mean?
Collins, who,
I mean, Josh
as
Simmons.
rare a situation as we've ever
Josh Simmons has a torn patellar tendon, still went in the first round. Like, that is a gruesome injury to come back from. Not many, and offensive tackles who have had that injury do not really recover well from that. Sounds like he is, but that's what it all is. And again, it's all juniors, top 5 of the first round guys again.
Because you know them when you see them. I think that's
Exactly.
the other tough part is you see, okay, 6'6", 319 for Will Campbell, then 6'4", 332, Armand Membo, like 6'5", 311 for Connerly. And while they all can be very similar in a lot of ways, it reminds me of just how hard it is. Like, sometimes you need to be in a room with a guy to see if that's like a big dude. You know, like it happened with Bo Nix, where you saw the measurements come out with Bo Nix and you're like, oh, okay, like whatever, barely 6'2", like whatever.
Honestly, I think Mahomes is a great example.
Exactly.
Mahomes on a stat sheet is like, he's like slightly below average. On an NFL field, he looks plenty big.
Totally. And I
Well,
think that sometimes if you're an
Baker.
NFL team,
Yeah.
NFL team that's like scouting these guys, the value of getting into a room with them and seeing, like, you have to be an absolute freak to be a tackle in the NFL. I think that's just part of the evaluation that you just can't get unless you're actually there with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, line them all up and let me see.
Well, that's why I think the Senior Bowl really matters to these evaluations.
Sure.
Also, since I read off the top 11 tackles, how many of those guys are actually tackles?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 2 or 3 are at minimum are off that list and are not tackles eventually. Like Mekhi Becton, very Super Bowl winning guard, great. But that guy was drafted at one point in the top 15 as a supposed franchise left tackle. And that plan did not work out. How many of those will you have?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, they do still have I don't know. I'd be interested to see how it stacks up to the NFL at every other position. But I wonder the bust rate on those guys, like mid to late first round
Yeah.
type of guys. Because again, they just get taken up because again, if you have the size and the athleticism, and if you have the arm length and you have production in terms of starts, like you're just gonna go even if you're not necessarily refined the most, just because such a
Right.
premium position.
There's some of those
Melissa, if I
guys.
send you a tweet, production Slack?
There's some of those guys who they bump inside, and so like for example, Armand Membo.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good tackle, like built almost exactly like Rashawn Slater, all that sort of stuff. Good chance he's like an incredible player.
Trent Williams, the S tier.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
because, when people look at the size comparisons and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But if he does wind up getting bumped inside, then like he's somebody who's built for that. You know, like he's 334, he's 6'4". There's some of these guys who you don't see that the bump is going to be necessarily as easy, or maybe you get by, but it isn't necessarily like again Armand Membao.
It's my concern with the bigger guys. Yeah. Like, do we really have an escape plan if Irsay as a tackle doesn't work out, or if Belton as a tackle doesn't work out, or if Terapilo doesn't? Like, are those guys actually too big?
Yes.
No.
Or just too tall.
I just mentioned Mekhi Becton, so
Exactly. It's worked before.
size probably
Orlando Brown Jr.
not the limit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Ariante Irsay was what, the 6th tackle taken in this class?
Orlando Brown Jr., massive guy. Saw him at the Super
Massive
Bowl.
guy,
Massive guy.
and one of the worst testers in combine history.
Yeah. But again, then you see it
Yes.
and you're like, okay, how could you possibly Orlando Brown
The Watt
Jr.,
Jones
of course.
was similar, right? Like bigger than God, just like mammoth.
Yes. And you know, another, I just saw him at the Senior Bowl one year when I went, when he was there. Will Hernandez.
Yeah.
That
Huge.
dude was absolutely, and he was a guard.
Just a mountain.
Yeah.
No, I know. I mean, the standards are so. Hank and I were looking at, because I told Hank this morning, like, dude, I'm kind of shocked how bad the standing vertical from the NBA combine are. There's one guy that was over 33 inches.
That's
Do you know
crazy.
how many guys were over 33 inches from the O-line class in the NFL?
I'd imagine 60-some%.
Like 6 of them. That's
Oh, that's
O-linemen.
it.
Only O-linemen. The rest of the combine, yeah, probably
Okay, okay.
They're
60%.
out jumping the NBA.
O-linemen are out jumping the NBA's top prospects.
ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's the standard of athleticism you need to bring to the table to just justify even warranting getting snaps on an NFL field at this position are absurd. This is why we love this shit. Because you might think like, it's kind of a throwaway, or like Michael Schofield was a bum, Tyson Bradley was a bum. Bro, those are like 1 percentile athletes
Sure.
in
No,
this
absolutely.
world. Like,
Totally.
and they couldn't compete, you know? Like it just tells you how insanely high these standards are.
Orlando
that's-
Brown, who wasn't a great athletic tester.
Yeah.
Do you know what his measurements were at the combine?
Oh, bro, he was listed at like 380.
The 6'8", 345 officially. Listed higher.
There's no way.
Crazy.
6'8", 345, 35-inch arms.
Yeah,
That's like, I don't know. It's he isn't the most athletic. Sometimes, like when push comes to shove, the defense's job is to get around this guy. If you're that big and your arms are that long,
Yeah, right.
like you're just not getting around him.
But at some point,
Yeah,
it's like,
that's-
well, we may just need a traffic cone. And it's like, well, what if the traffic cone was 7 feet tall? Like, would that work
What if-
better?
yeah,
you know, like,
exactly.
would that
What if
be
it
a
was a
harder traffic
massive
cone to get
traffic cone?
around?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, shit. No
Exactly.
I mean, especially offenses that can really operate in the quick game. RPO game.
100%. 100%.
And then if you can
Like-
start leaning on guys in the run game,
Exactly.
then
Like,
it's totally worth it.
exactly.
if you're the Bills or the Chiefs, like I'm sure you probably want a more athletic, like can move around, can react type of tackle. But if you're
Yeah, if you're running Shanahan's system, you might
exactly,
want the
yes,
athlete.
if you're Brock Purdy, yeah.
Right.
I mean, they have Trent Williams.
But I mean, we've
like,
talked about this like year one of Coach Prime, right? More of a spread offense. I think he just wanted big ass tackles. He just wanted
exactly.
big traffic cones.
Yeah,
Like the
totally.
bigger the traffic cone, the quicker we'll get it out. We're just a quick
Sure.
hit offense anyways.
No,
Like,
exactly.
We'll make it work
Totally.
like that.
It's a great point.
And in some ways, I think we're seeing that more in college. Where it's like, yeah, just give me a ginormous bookend.
Yep.
We'll be fine.
Yep.
They'll have a hard time getting around them.
Yeah.
Most stuff.
I sent Alyssa a tweet on the kind of curves for these premium positions and who's getting to their second contracts.
Huh.
You can see offensive tackle outperforming any offensive position there.
The top 100. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
And I think that's kind of the Mekhi Becton example. It's kind of the Garrett Bowles example. Like you might not be satisfied with these guys when their rookie contract's up. But guess what? There's only so many of these walking the earth that they're probably getting to a second contract. They're probably still better off than just letting walk. Like that asset still has some value, even if it's by converting them inside or whatever. Shout out to Nick Kindle who sent that my way.
We
That
saw
is
this.
interesting. So again, so it's value and percentage of salary cap.
Yeah.
So what they do, so they take what you do on the field.
It's also highly paid.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Highly
what
paid
is
position.
what is the equivalent? Because you get whatever you draft with the 8th overall pick, you're paying the exact same amount no matter the position. And so if you're getting that level of play, so the tackles might not be playing any better than the running backs,
Totally.
but just the value of it is that much more.
because they're
So-
harder to find.
Exactly. And so
Also,
then-
you might be a mid or slightly below average offensive tackle, but you're probably still worth $20 million.
100%.
Again, Cam Robinson's the great example.
Yes.
And Cam Robinson, kind of a bum. And
Totally.
yet the Dolphins, as soon as Darisaw goes down, trade for him, and he's still going to get paid a nice chunk of change.
Yep.
Like,
Dude, this was the Broncos' biggest problem after the 2015 Super Bowl. It wasn't left tackle. They ended up drafting Bowles, but it was finding that damn right tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just throwing money at guys hoping to fix the situation.
Right.
And that's just the worst cycle to be in when you're paying
Sure.
like 75% of top market value for a
Yeah.
guy who belongs like lower down. But because again, it's just like these drafts where you say you take all these guys in the first round, like, but then you hit the drought because you don't want that guy. Like you don't want the guy who's like, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he is the 32nd tackle. If he's the 32nd tackle, your team's just not gonna be good.
right.
Yeah.
And who were the guys they were throwing money at? Former flamed out top 50 picks who
Yep.
had the measurables, and they're like,
maybe-
maybe we'll be able to
maybe.
develop them, you know.
Exactly.
But it's like those guys are still getting a bag. Juwan James, Menelik Watson, those guys are still getting pretty good,
100%.
well paid. Which is why I'm kind of shocked the Broncos have yet to address the position in the Sean Payton tenure.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked, man.
Well, but here's the thing: Sean Payton does a lot of this, of kind of like spitting in the face of like expectations in the NFL.
a little bit.
And he's done this with the tackle position. I mean, he's taken a lot of guys later. He's invested early in a lot of them for sure too, particularly the interior. But I mean, Teron Armstead was a 5th round, 6th round pick. Like,
I want to say 3rd.
okay, so either way, still like on that graph, like
Yeah.
chances are he's not going to end up really seeking a
Yeah, for
high end
sure.
second contract.
And he got
So-
Ramczyk late first, right? He traded
Yes.
back into the first to get Ramczyk. So yeah, you're right. It's not like you were like, oh, both those tackles were top 20 picks, you know.
Yeah, and then their guards.
Andres Pete.
I'm thinking the older ones though, like Breeze era, like early 2010s. It was Jari Evans and Carl Nix.
Yeah.
And I think those guys were later round picks too that kind of
Yeah,
developed and
I
ended
think
up
you're right.
re-signing. So
And I will say, like, signs from Palcho, obviously pretty encouraging.
Totally.
Quinn Bailey, right? Like I know there's some in Broncos country who
Yeah, he was 6th offensive lineman. Like he served his role.
they signed Xavier Truss, a massive right tackle from Georgia this year. I wonder if that's part of the route, you know, like, hey, let's keep, like, we don't need to spend draft picks. We'll find the developmental offensive tackles and we'll see how far we can develop them.
Yep.
And if at best they're just our 6th offensive lineman and swing tackle, cool. That's still like a well-developed asset that you got for nothing and turned into something.
I mean,
If they're anything beyond that, though, you've made out like bandits.
sure. And they've spent money at the position too, right? They extended Bowles. They went and paid for McGlinchey and all that. Like they're already invested at the position. So when it comes time to move on from one, if not both of them, you're going to have some cap space to work with just for that position if you really want to go that route as opposed to the drafting developmental route.
It's true.
Other piece for the Broncos is, so a guy who did it first. I think Over the Cap did it first. And then Bobby Gould wound up kind of going back and tweaking the numbers a couple years ago, but basically found the value of each draft pick in cap space dollars, with the idea being like, okay, the number 2 overall pick in 2023 worth the equivalent of like $25 million in cap space. Like you could either have that and get the same production, or so when you look back at what Sean Payton has done, he has given out those massive contracts to McGlinchey and massive contract to Ben Powers. You give obviously the extension to Bowles, the extension to Quinn, and if you wanted to like look at those values, like those are probably the biggest investments they have made.
Oh, yeah.
It's I mean, Zach Allen, I guess, would edge out Ben Powers, but for the most part, like
the moves he made off season 1.
totally.
McGlinchey, Ben Powers, bang, bang.
So while they didn't invest in the draft, using a first round pick, using whatever they had 20 this year, that'd be worth like $10 million in cap space. Like you invested double what the 20th pick is worth. That's what you eventually did, pretty much did for Ben Powers. So while they aren't making the draft investments, they are obviously like, they're almost using their even bigger chips to make the investments than the draft picks.
Yeah.
But it is probably time.
For sure.
Last thing, are you guys good? I want to talk about this tweet. We talked about it in the Buff Show, but it's when you look
this
at
is a great one.
when you look at so particularly this top 5, Campbell, Membao, Banks, Connerly, Simmons. I think there's only 2 of them that were 5 stars.
Really?
I think so. I know Kelvin Banks was.
I bet. Josh Simmons has to be.
Josh Simmons, I have right here.
No, he went
Maybe
to
a
San
5.
Diego State.
Yeah, he was a
really?
4-star. Josh Connerly Jr. So he was one. So him and Kelvin Banks. So
Yeah, both
5-star
highly rated.
tackles, just highly touted their entire football lives, basically. End up becoming first-round picks. The point of this tweet is basically these 5-star offensive tackles are building blocks for now and the rest of their football career, really, into the NFL. So this is from Brent Rollins. I think he works for Rivals. He covers the Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs, actually.
Go Dogs.
He tweets out, this is from about 2 weeks ago. He goes, since 2014, 29 draft-eligible offensive tackles rated a 5-star by Rivals. There's been 29 total. 14 of those 29 were drafted in the first round. That's right around 50%. 7 were drafted in round 2. 21 out of 29 are getting taken in the top 64 picks. So these 5 stars are proving their worth throughout their career. In all total, 25 of the 29 5 stars were drafted at some point. And this is more college football, but only 2 of those guys ended up transferring. So you get one of these 5-star tackles to commit to your program. They're a building block for your college. They tend to not transfer, and they tend to get drafted very high and obviously continue on that type of route, really. I mean, I'm not
easiest dudes to scout of all time.
That's what I was gonna say, but like I didn't want to say it that way.
At
Like
16, we knew.
yes, exactly. So like
And we were right most of the time.
and and you love Josh Connerly Jr. throughout this entire process
sure.
too. So like, I don't want to call it lazy or like easy scouting, but I mean, if it's there for you and it's reliable, like these stats are pretty proven. It goes back to 2014. This is more than 10 years of data.
And it's a pretty clear, like, do or don't.
Again, I
Yes.
think it goes back to like if you just get in the room with one of these guys,
Exactly.
you can see like, oh, this is one of the 100 people on Earth who, if they put the effort in, would be capable of doing this. And all it takes is just like looking at the guy.
For sure.
Exactly. So
Similarly, the tape.
yep.
It's like, oh, yeah, I've watched Texas enough to know that left tackle is pretty darn good. Or like, I've watched Texas enough to know that right tackle is pretty rough. Like,
Exactly.
There's
There's no hiding after a while.
Yeah.
We
He's getting
started-
cooked. Or like if you seriously, you sit down and watch, and if he just doesn't get beat, he doesn't get beat.
Yeah, it's kind of that simple, honestly. And
Yeah.
we started this offensive tackle segment talking about Jordan Seaton. He's obviously a 5-star. He's at the Buffs now. He's basically the leader of the team now. He's probably going to be a top 10, top 5 draft pick in 2 years. So it's just something to keep in mind, especially when we're scouting these guys in February, March, and
For
I don't know, you're having trouble separating them. Honestly, maybe just take a peek at the recruiting rankings.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I've taken a peek. I've watched some football. Caden Proctor next year.
Yep.
is
Yep.
right atop the list. And Jordan Seaton's going to be atop that list the year after. Like,
Just like
blue chippers through and through, no questions asked, ready to go. Like,
Yep. Josh Connerly was the number 1 tackle in his draft class.
Kelvin Banks was a 5-star too.
Yep. Kelvin Banks was number 3.
and like Proctor, Connerly, Campbell, Banks, basically starting at left tackle from day one at those blue chip programs.
Tyler Booker was the number 8 tackle. Flipped to guard, but again, it's kind of same thing. Yeah.
100%. It's a fun class. I'll be intrigued to see what the Broncos do in the coming years. Shout out to Ashton over there for tuning into the Draft Pod. Leave us a like on the way out. Shout out to JA, our guy. Shout out to you guys, fellas,
Shout out to you,
for
bro.
making this happen. This was delightful. And shout out to Alyssa Marie for making this all happen. We couldn't do it without her. That's it for us. We will be back next week. As always, tune in then. Until then, bye.
We all silly like the mayor.